It's the Takeover. It's the Takeover right here on CBJ Radio. We're always bringing you the coolest artists on Wednesday nights, and tonight's no different. Queens, New York rockers, King Falcon. They just released their latest single, Cadillac, along with an awesome video. They have a pair of shows booked next month at the Bowery Electric in New York City. We're stoked to have singer, guitarist Michael Rubin from King Falcon on the show. First, Michael, thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me.
You've had an interesting journey. It's been a roller coaster, that's for sure. You and James were in this inoculated Canaries. You go out, do your own thing. You record Shake, Shake, Shake in 2020. You're ready to rock and roll. The pandemic hits. There goes your momentum. What were you thinking at that point when you're sitting at home and you've released Shake, Shake, Shake?
Well, so James and I, and it's funny, when we were in the Inoculated Canaries together, I believe we did an interview with Cowboy Joe as well.
Yeah, you did.
And so here we are coming back. So we actually, King Falcon started before COVID. So Shake, Shake, Shake was obviously under the name King Falcon. And, we were kind of all geared up to do a show, our first show at the Bowery Electric, April 1st, 2020. Which was going to be a huge release party for us. Yeah, I know you're laughing, right? So it was right when COVID hit, and our big plan was to try to cram everybody we know into a basement in New York. Like, it's not going to happen. So at first, it kind of looked like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. It looked like we were never going to be able to play a live show, and it was just like, first it was 2 weeks, then it was 2 months, and then, we're still now we're just kind of getting out of it. It's been, 3-4 years?
Yeah.
It's been forever. So at first, it looked like there was no light at the end of the tunnel, but it really gave us a chance to kind of carve the identity of the band, number one. And number two, focus on making a kick-ass first record. So we recorded the whole first record before we ever played our first show, which is kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yeah, we're going to touch on that. So you're sitting there, you're thinking, what the hell are we going to do? You release when the party's over, you send it out, and good things happen. The very next day, you get offered a recording contract.
Yes, with Mascot Records.
Was that the only person you sent it to? Did you send it out to a million companies? What?
No, so not a million, but we sent it out to a number of companies. But I was really excited about Mascot in particular because all of the artists that they represent are super guitar driven. They've got Kenny Wayne Shepherd. They've got POD, they've got Crowbot, they got a whole lot of artists on there that are really, really guitar driven. So for me, again, as a guitar player first and everything else second, it was important that I was going to be somewhere where they were going to really be excited about the fact that there's guitar solos in the songs. You don't know how many times I've gone to producers or sat at meetings where they're like, "Oh, cool, you have a 4-bar solo. Let's just cut that. The song will be way better." And that's that's not what I'm about. So I was really happy when Mascot was into it.
That's the cool thing. Go check them out. KingFalconBand.com. They're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Their brand new single, Cadillac, and also a video for Cadillac is out right now. Well, it was just you and James. James was playing drums. Now you've added Tom as the drummer, and James has moved to bass. Was James a bass player before? Is he just a great musician?
No, James is neither of those things, which is what's really funny. So James has been my partner in music for probably about a decade now. So I always like to say, and I said this when I had my interview with you with the Canaries, that I would take a bullet for James, but I would also be the person that shoots him. So I don't know what you make of that, but that's kind of our relationship. Like we've been together so long, and we know each other musically. But James's big strength is he is a recording engineer. So he, like our record, he didn't produce it. We had a producer, but he engineered the record. I mean, the sounds that you're hearing, he captured all that stuff. So like Cadillac, that one, Shake, 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 and When the Party's Over. I mean, he engineered all that stuff. So he is super, super mega talented. And he plays bass kind of as well as he plays drums because, he just is, he's got a natural rhythm and he's a pretty talented guy. But truth be told, Tom is a much better drummer than James, and we couldn't find a bass player. So James hopped on bass, and Tom got behind the kid. Now we're better off for it, I think, and it gives James a new opportunity to kind of be seen in the front a little bit, because when we're doing live shows, usually he's hidden behind the kid. So now he's up in front. And it also gives him a chance to nerd out a little bit. He's got his little corner with all his little knobs and buttons, and they do things and they change sounds. And he's just that kind of guy. He loves it. So he was more than happy to make the switch, actually.
Yeah, it's probably nice. He has a little more control of the live show. So
that's really what it is. He has a lot of, like, we have a light show when we play live, and he made it. I mean, he's that guy.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, Tom, it said Tom was doing his own solo stuff. So how did you guys meet?
So we all teach at the School of Rock.
Okay.
If you're familiar with that, which is pretty funny. So we have seen Tom and his band previously for many years, and they were killing it. They were doing really great, but they kind of had a falling out, and they ended up breaking up. So Tom was a free agent. So to us, he represented a guy who, number one, we've known for 5-6 years at this point. So it's not like we were bringing a stranger into the band. I mean, we know Tom, and also somebody who we know is legit, somebody who can really play, somebody who's been on the road. And somebody who's just very musical. I mean, Tom plays every instrument. I mean, Tom plays drums really well. He plays guitar almost as well as I do. I can't say he plays it as well as I do, but he's damn close. I mean, he's really good. He plays piano like a motherfucker. You said we're uncensored here.
Oh, yeah,
I'll go ahead and say, yeah, he plays piano like a motherfucker. Wow. For sure. He's just an immensely talented guy. He sings as well. That's the one thing James doesn't do. He sings a little bit, but we always have his mic a little bit lower than everybody else. We liked it that way.
Well, you mentioned the album's done. So how did the chemistry work? Because you and James have such great chemistry. Now throw in a third wheel in the mix. Was Tom in on the recording?
Great. And yes, Tom. So we probably wrote 3 or 4 songs before Tom joined the band, and then Tom joined the band and wrote the rest of them with us. But on the record, he played all the drums. So the only songs that Tom didn't play on are Shake, Shake, Shake and When the Party's Over. Okay. So Cadillac is actually everybody's first introduction to Tom. And everything on the record, which the record is just going to be self-titled, King Falcon, that's all Tom playing drums. And he's great. And he really had a huge impact on the writing of everything, because he's a writer himself, and he's done a lot of production, and he's a nice middle ground between James and I, because I'm very much a just wing it, free for all. It's going to be what it's going to be, man. Like, let's just plug the guitar in and just record it, and what it is. And James is a little bit more logical. He likes to think about things, and he likes to kind of focus on the minutia, and he's he's a little bit nerdier than I, and I think Tom is a really good middle ground between the two of us. So he helps balance us out a little bit. So between the three of us, I think we have everything that we need to have covered. Yeah. And it's a great team.
Yeah, you got a definite good find when you found Tom. Go check them out, kingfalconband.com. They're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. The brand new single Cadillac is out now, and Cadillac, this thing was produced by this Marshall Altman who did the album, and Mark Needham. Where'd you find these guys?
So we probably would never have been able to get to them without the help of the label, because those are two very, very big dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, Marshall Altman has produced a bunch of stuff. My favorite stuff is probably the Kenny Wayne Shepherd stuff that he did. And Mark Needham is a big-time mixing engineer. My personal favorite is he mixed that Killers record that we all love. And we have one song on the record which will come out later. I'll tell you here. It's called On Your Soul. It's going to come out probably in a few months. It's my favorite song on the record, and it's the one that I think sounds very Killers-y. And I was thinking about how much I wanted to have Mark specifically mix that song. And the odds that it actually happened are very slim. But he heard the record, he dug it, and then he decided that he wanted to mix it. And he did a great job. I mean, he's a legend. So him and Marshall both really killed it. And I know I'm saying that about everybody on the team, but it's true. I mean, we've been making music for a long time, and we've definitely worked with some people who have been other people who have been great, other people who have not been great. But this whole record was like a perfect planets and stars aligning kind of thing. Like, it was really good. And we recorded the whole record in 6 days.
Wow. In Queens, or where at?
In Brooklyn, in James's studio.
Nice. Now, the video for Cadillac is amazing. The license plate on the Cadillac, does it mean something, this LSU 247?
No. So real quick, I'll tell you about that. So funny enough, this is the first and probably the last time we're ever going to do this, where we filmed the video before we recorded the song.
Oh, geez.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
But I had a demo that I made, And we all dug the demo so much that we knew it wasn't going to change. So our actual, the physical location of time within the song wasn't going to change for the parts. However long the song is when I made the demo, it's exactly the same length and the parts are exactly the same. It just sounds way better now. So we kind of knew that we had the song done very early on. So we started filming a video and getting all that stuff together, before we actually recorded the song. So your question was about the car. So the song is about that car in the video, not a different car that looks like it. The song is about that car.
Yeah.
That is my best friend's car, and he's had it for probably about 10, 15 years, and it's never run. And he's always told me about it. And I always wanted to see it, but one day we go over to a storage unit or whatever, and he opens up the thing, and there it is. It's beautiful. I'm like, dude, we got to get this thing started. So literally showed up with a can of starter fluid and a couple other things to get the thing running, and we got it running. So that license plate is like a fake license plate. It doesn't really mean anything. It's not an American license plate. So here we are driving that thing. No registration, no license plate, 15-year-old tires, the brakes don't really work, 19 feet of 5,000-pound Cadillac.
Yeah.
And it's just the speedometer doesn't work. It was terrifying. But, even doing 10, 15 miles an hour down the road, number one, you feel like you're in a spaceship doing a million. But number two, you feel like Elvis. Everybody's just looking at you like you're the king. You look in the rearview mirror and you got these big fins. And I was like, man, I got to steal this car because my buddy hasn't driven it in 10 years. I got to, I'll drive it every day. So that's kind of where the fantasy started. And the song came from there. And he knows that's what it's about. He knows I love that car. And someday I will steal it from him, but it's all right because he's my best friend. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, once you're a millionaire, you can throw him a couple bones. It's funny. Did the Cadillac break down when you guys were filming the video?
That is a true story. It absolutely did break down, and like I said, it's like 5,000-6,000 pounds. It's the size of a Suburban, but it's only a 2-door. And we were filming in front of this mansion, and it had a gravel driveway. So obviously the thing broke down on the gravel. And if you've ever tried to push something heavy, imagine now pushing it on gravel.
Yeah, it doesn't work too well.
I slipped. I hurt myself. I got a chronic injury now. Every time the weather's bad, it acts up, and I think about that video. So it's just my little souvenir from the Cadillac video.
Yeah, we're in Wyoming. We've pushed a lot of things on gravel roads, and it makes it a lot tougher when the ground's sliding underneath your feet.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah, it's totally impossible. The video has an animated part. You're an alligator. Tell us about this, because you liked being an alligator. This was your idea.
Yes. So all of the animals kind of have like a little bit of significance. So I'll start with Tom. He's the easiest one. So he's a cat. Yeah. I mean, he's a tomcat. It makes perfect sense, right? Plus he just kind of looks like that. He's kind of got the hair. He's got he just looks like that. It was right. James plays the bass. So he had to be a bass, like a fish, but he's not a bass because that didn't really translate on camera. So he just ended up being a different kind of fish, but that's how we got there. But the idea of animals in general started with a crocodile that I saw, and not just like any crocodile, but it was a kind of a tattoo sort of design cartoon from the 60s era. And it was just like this big angry crocodile, muscle kind of crocodile driving a hot rod with the engine coming out of the hood and just like big tires doing a burnout and like exhaust with the flames coming out the side. And I saw that and I was like, dude, that's the vibe for this song, because it's just cool and groovy, and it's got that kind of like. So I said I know the car is a 57, but the song kind of has that flair of like late 60s, early 70s hot rod culture, just cruising down the strip, So that to me was that image. So I sent it to a friend of mine who's an animator, and then she spent 800 hours making 3D models of stuff and then doing skins over it and all that. And that's the video you see at the end. Yeah.
Well, I saw, or I read a thing where you did this song, you listened to the bass line for like 8 hours and came up, or 8 days or whatever it was, and came up with this song. Is that typical?
The whole song, no, it's not typical. But the whole song started with that bass part. da 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 da, and I played it on like a synthesizer in my bedroom. And I just had that at first, and I had a whole bunch of different other ideas that were going over it, but the anchor of the whole song was that bass line. And it took me about a week to figure it out. And my girlfriend was staying with me at the time because it was COVID and whatever. So she's on the floor below me and she's doing her work or whatever. And if you're in the room next to somebody, all you hear is the bass part. So for 8 days, from 9 to 5, the working hours of the day, I mean, my job is I write music and I make music. So I'm here sitting in front of my computer and it's just for like 8 days. Eventually I figured it out, and real quick, if there's any musicians listening to this, I had 2 separate parts that were like, one was the song as you hear it, and then one was like the song really opens up and it's just like really chordy, and it felt like 2 different songs. So what I ended up doing is just having one part throughout the whole song, because I figured, well, if it sounds like 2 different parts, just pick one. You know, and I think it worked. But you tell me if you dig the song or not.
Oh, the song's amazing. I'll bet you she was ready to shoot you after the.
Oh my God, yeah! It's the one song on the record that she can't listen to. And she's a big fan, and I mention it at the shows sometimes. Every time she comes out to a show, I'm like, "Hey, this is my girlfriend's least favorite song." It's just because she's heard it more times than anybody else can imagine. But hey, I still like the song. So
yeah, that's all that matters. We're talking with Mike from King Falcon. Go check them out, kingfalconband.com. They're everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Cadillac. Go watch the video. It's on YouTube. Go check out their website. You can see it right there. You guys, I mean, you're finally playing live. You didn't play forever. How cool was it to finally hit the stage as the 3-piece?
So the first time it felt a little bit like when you haven't gone to the gym in a while and you're like, all right, I'm gonna pick up the 30s, I'm gonna curl that, no problem. And then you just got like the spaghetti noodle arms, you can't lift anything. So that's kind of how it felt the very first gig. But the second gig, once we had gotten over that, oh, dude, it was so amazing because we finally got to see what the reception to the songs were like live. Because, we're doing all of this stuff pretty much in a vacuum before we played that first show. I mean, nobody heard anything. And now only the people who have come to the shows obviously have heard our full album because we kind of do it at the shows. But we had no idea what the reception would be, and it's been really good. I mean, there's a couple songs which I was not expecting people to dig that they really dig live. So that's how it works, and that gives you a better idea of kind of how to structure album 2. Because if you're playing stuff up there that the people don't dig, that's not going to make it to album 2. But if you're playing songs up there and you're getting a great reaction from the crowd, that's going to be on record too. So it's been great. It's been awesome. And now it's been new challenges too, like figuring out the light show, but it's a fun challenge. It's like our job is kind of solving a Rubik's Cube, and first the Rubik's Cube is writing the song and putting all the parts together. And we solved that, at least as far as we think we need to go. The record's done. And now it's time for us to solve the Rubik's Cube of the live show. So that's the thing. And it's just going to keep getting better, and we're going to keep adding more elements. We're trying to do a little bit of stage design now. We got like some lighting trees and stuff. So it's going really well.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the Bowery, that you had a gig booked back in 2020, and now your residency there. I mean, it's got to be cool that they invite you back and that the place is still there too.
It's cool. It's really a great place. It's a New York like staple venue. And we've had a good relationship with them, even with our last band, the Canaries, James and I.
Yeah.
But King Falcon is, I know you heard the Canary stuff too. King Falcon is really cut above because we're a lot more mature now in our songwriting, and the production's better, and just everything about it's better. You learn as you go.
Oh yeah.
So for us now to be able to have a residency at such a great venue like the Bowery is awesome. I couldn't ask for anything better. Plus, the pictures come out great. They got that awesome neon sign.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a cool venue.
Yeah. Go and check them out. They got 2 more dates coming up in May. So go check them out if you are in the New York area, kingfalconband.com. Well, the album's recorded. You mentioned a single possibly coming in a couple months. What a release, tour, what's coming up, Michael?
Sure. So this song Cadillac just came out. I was also just in a movie called Spinning Gold. If you see that, I got to play Ace Frehley, so that was fun. And Ace Frehley actually saw the movie, and he was quoted as saying it was better than I expected, which is about as rave a review as I could hope to get from Ace Frehley.
Wow.
we're gonna be in Vegas at the end of the month. We're playing at a show called The Gathering. I think that's on April 24th, might be 25th. I got to double check the date, but it's at the end of this month. And then when we come back, we got a couple dates here. We're booking dates in June. We're probably going to do a couple Long Island dates in June, and we're trying to get out to the middle of the country as soon as we can. Hopefully, we can hop on somebody else's tour.
Spinning Gold. What's that about? Is that about a promoter? I think I've heard something about that.
Sure. So it's about Neil Bogart.
Yeah.
So Neil Bogart is the guy who was running Casablanca Records.
Okay,
so he
that's right.
found Donna Summers, he found Gladys Knight, he found Kiss, which is why I'm in the movie. And the way I got into the movie was, so Neil had, I believe he had 3 sons and a daughter. There's Evan, Tim, and Brad. I don't know his daughter's name, but one of the guys at the label is friends with Brad Bogart. They were in a band, and I guess the guy who was playing Ace Frehley got COVID or dropped out last minute. But I basically got a phone call from my guy at the label. It's like, hey, do you know any Kiss songs? And I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, cool. Can you send me a video? So it's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm in my PJs, so I just send like a quick video of me playing a Kiss song. Midnight, I get a phone call from Tim Bogart, who's directing the movie. He's like, hey man, you want to be in a movie? I'm like, sure. Next day, I'm getting fit for the spandex. The day after that, I got the platforms on, and I'm up there, and I got the makeup on, and there we are. So it was cool, and it happened really quick. But the movie actually is good. I mean, it's a good movie. Really entertaining. It's a good watch. It touches on a lot of the big names from the 70s. It's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely give it a shot.
Yeah, I think I heard Ace's interview with Eddie Trunk like a week ago. I think he mentioned it, or I think they mentioned Neil or something, and say it's coming out. So they gave you a plug. You have as good a shot of playing the final Kiss shows as Ace probably does.
Yeah, I figured there was some kind of beef there because they named everybody else, like all the other members of Kiss, but not Ace. So I didn't really ask, and I didn't have time to because I only found out about it the day before shooting. But it's something there.
Yeah, awesome. Well, let's hear Cadillac. Thanks so much, Michael, for coming back on.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
It's King Falcon. It's the takeover. CBJRadio.com.